Hey, Mouser. You don't live there. You trying to be friendly? Don't be starting no crap. I don't want to hear about it. My cat, he goes across the street. He's lonely. He wants to make friends. But cat's way of playing is like fucking the other cat up a little bit. Because he fucks me up. I got scratches all over my fucking hands because this motherfucker. You see? You see? Can you see me now? He probably can't fucking tell. This big fucking scar, he's from him. I'm just kidding. You know, when you got cuts all over your wrists and hands, you got to think, am I sad? Or do I just love my cat? Do I just give him ample attention every fucking day until he gets a little too much? You be nice over there, buddy. Welcome to the Jordan Lear program. JLP 101. We've been on the run, driving in the sun, driving down the 101. Jordan Lear program, here we come. Even though what I say is dumb. Disclaimer. This will be the only serious thing I say the whole podcast, okay? This is a work of fiction. This is a comedic podcast. These are stupid thoughts. These are nonsensical, improvisational, creative ramblings, conjectures, prognosis, hypothesis about the world, and just whatever. It's fiction on top of fiction, okay? This is the JLP, the Jordan Lear program, the 101st. You know, when you take physics 101, it's like, we're going to cover all of it. And that's what we're going to do here. We got something for everything on the Jordan Lear program, okay? I throw shit at the wall, all right? I try to get engagement. I really have nothing to talk about, so I'd write down all the shit. But here's what it is, Jordan Lear program. I started off with this, a little funny bunny, which don't take any of it seriously. It's all nonsense. I don't stand by any of the words I say. And we're going to talk about sports. We have fights this weekend. We have fights again. Fights happening in the world. Ronda Rousey's fighting Gina Carano. And Nathan Diaz is fighting Mike Perry. Triumphant return. Former UFC fighters fighting on Netflix, too. We'll talk about that. That's a very interesting. That's happening on Netflix. Brought to you by Jake Paul Promotions and not Dana White. We'll talk a little NBA playoffs, baseball, the Cubs, you know, NHL hockey. We won't talk about that, but we'll talk about how we don't talk about that. WWE. I got nothing to say about Michigan State. Whatever, we'll get to it in sports. Then we have a news segment. I've got a news. We're going to talk about the UFOs and the UAPs. We're going to do some science and nature. Okay, I got a garden happening. All right, at least I have dirt. We'll get into it. Okay, and the last part, the most important part, the most dangerous part of this comedy show. This thing that we call comedy, yeah, right, you fucking idiot. We're going to go through the list of movies and TV and documentaries and books and plays and video games and music that I've kind of downloaded onto the old head, or attempted to. Never fucking works. All right, Jordan Lear program. Brought to you by me, because I'm the one that fucking did it. Parental advisory involved. I won't swear anymore. I don't promise. Going to a funeral this weekend. Pumped! I'm jacked, man. You can't get too excited for a funeral, you know? In my defense, I didn't know I was going to the funeral. I was excited for a trip up north with my wife, which Borat ruined the way I say wife for the rest of my life. That rhymes. I'm going to a funeral, and I'm just trying to, you know, keep it under control. Getting ready for a trip up north with my wife. She wanted to go see some family. And then she springs on me. She's like, we're going to a funeral Friday, by the way. And I'm like, what? Why? Sorry. I just wasn't expecting that. I knew we were going to family, and I was like, I just didn't. Cool, okay. And I, you know, my two biggest fears at a funeral, any funeral, are A, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to cry. Or B, I'm going to be bored because I don't know the guy. And I'm just going to be sitting there waiting to leave the whole... Is it bad I'm going to a funeral and I'm like, are there snacks? Is there going to be food? Are we going to have any games? I don't know. As a person who likes to get on theme for things, if a movie's coming out, I like to watch the previous movies or movies that are in the same genre, same plot, I feel like I should research this guy a little bit. R.I.P., sir. And also, this is a work of fiction. I'm making all this shit up. This is a story about nothing. I feel like I should get... I don't know. It's like, how are you supposed to be when you're at a funeral? If you don't know the guy, and a lot of people, they probably know that you don't know the guy. It's not like a rock concert where you're expecting to see other strangers. People are looking at me and they're like, oh, who's such and such? And they're like, oh, he's so. And they're like, oh, did he ever meet? And I didn't. And, do you cry? Do you cry? Because everyone else is crying. But if I cry and people know that I don't know the guy, they're going to think I'm a fucking weirdo. Are they going to think I'm bringing in some other shit? They're like, did he just lose someone too? And he's thinking about it. And if I'm sitting there but if you're stone-faced, you fucking feel weird. You're like, I don't... it's like going to an AA meeting when you're not an alcoholic. You just go with a buddy for support. And you're like, hey, guys, I don't have a problem like you losers, but... You're just sitting there. You're like, I'm so sorry everyone else is going through this. I see you. I hear you. I wish I felt the same. It's kind of how I feel when I watch the Hunger Games with my wife. Ow! I'll get into that later. Anyways, yeah, you don't want to be laughing. You don't want to be smiling. That's the thing. Sometimes people are light at a funeral, and the close family members. If you can laugh with each other, even at a funeral, it's nice. But if my wife or her cousins, like, they crack a joke, and it's respectful for them to crack a joke. But if someone sees me laughing, some 80-year-old aunt, that's going to be her last memory of me. She's going to be like, that little fucker came to our family and he's laughing the whole time. And we saw him. He does his podcast and he says it's all fake. Why am I putting that on? I don't mean that about anyone. No one's going to feel that way. No one uses that voice. Jeez. Luckily, the only person who really watches this podcast is the one that might be the most offended by that, and that is my wife. Love you, honey. So yeah, I got a nice funeral vacation coming up, and I'm pumped, man. Go up see the northern Michigan, like a Traverse City situation. People don't know about Michigan. I'll spill the beans because people aren't listening to this shit, but Michigan's got wealth. People come up here, not any realm where I'm at, but like up north, Jeffrey Epstein, they fucking get freaky deaky up in Interlochen, Traverse City. It's like ritzy bitsy. They got private art schools up there. Jeffrey Epstein, I think he's from there. I'm just going to say he's from there. I'm just going to say it with confidence and backtrack it later. Jeffrey Epstein's from Interlochen, Michigan. And people know about Lake Michigan. That's an ocean. Okay? A lot of people don't even go to it that much around here. But you go there and it's like, whew, you don't see across, obviously. And it's an ocean of fresh water. Debate me on that? Lake Michigan is an ocean. Let's get some rage bait out there. It's an ocean of fresh water. Fight me on that. Ain't no lake. You can't call that a lake. Great Lake it's bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than that. And fucking you oceans are cheating because you have no end. You're all together. Okay? There wouldn't be no Atlantic without the fucking Pacific, so eat that. Huh? Or there wouldn't be no Indian without the Arctic or the Antarctic or the Pacific or Atlantic. It's all one. Yeah. I don't know why I'm starting beef. You don't want to be bored in any situation. You gotta mix it up with those oceans. I think that encapsulated it. I should do some self-promotion here on the way out of this hypothesis thesis section. Go to Jordan Lear Program. Check out any of my stuff, man. I got music on there. I got an album, Jail Lizard and Jeopardy Loser, this single. It's acoustic, some funny lyrics on there. I got movies. I got a movie coming out. I'm trying to set up a screening right now for this summer for the debut of my feature film, Sex, Drugs, and Open Mics. And I just ordered t-shirts. I'll put them right here. Here. Either here or right here. There's the t-shirts. Sex, Drugs, and Open Mics. I'm going to be selling those. We'll say $25. Yeah. Hit me up. You want a t-shirt? Let's do it. Maybe I'll give you one for free if you're cool. But I got merch. So I got a lot of shit coming down here. Scheisse, subscribe, I guess. I hate subscribing to stuff, but it would help me if you did for me. Just so I don't like doing it. I hate asking. I'm not asking. I'm saying don't, but do. I guess it would help me. Or don't. I don't know. I'm not really looking for a result here. I'm just kind of trying to do the shit. If that's okay with you. If it's okay with you, you don't have to subscribe. But you don't have to listen. Sometimes I watch podcasts with the sound off. And I listen to fucking Metallica. Yeah. I don't even love them. But I put myself through it. So subscribe to Jordan Lear. Go to Jordan Lear. Listen to my stuff. Listen to someone else. Get my t-shirt. Cast me on Law & Order. I have never booked Law & Order, and that pisses me off. I got to be honest about that. Been on a few TV shows in my day. I've auditioned for Law & Order. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay? And if you don't cast me, I'll just keep trying. Coming up next will be sports. We're going to talk about UFC, the NBA playoffs, baseball. We're not going to talk about hockey. We're going to talk about the WWE a little bit. Probably not the NFL. I'm trying to lay off this shit. And then we got news after that, followed by science, nature, and the program. Thank you for stopping by. Have a beautiful May. Don't laugh at any funeral you go to unless you know the guy. Welcome back to the Jordan Lear Program, the sports report, the fight report. This week, the fight report. Okay, same disclaimer applies. This is all BS conjecture. I don't stand by any of the things I'm saying. This is for comedic babbling purposes. Ronda Rousey coming out of retirement to fight Gina Carano, also coming out of retirement, also coming out of being canceled by Disney and fired from The Mandalorian for speaking out against COVID. That's true. It's all fucking true, right? Fire me. Never hired me. Fuck it. Yeah, dude. Things go in cycles. And you got to know that about addictions and things you can get over. Because I used to watch a lot of combat sports. I used to do commentary for this amateur organization. I used to do the in-fight interviews for the U of MMA out in LA. And, I was like wrestling and like the characters stuff. I was like being part of it and shit. And I used to watch all the UFC cards. I was kind of a geek for it. And, it's Conor McGregor was so pro wrestling and shit. And John Jones, Ronda Rousey, Chuck Liddell, those are some days. And Nate Diaz, too, the Diaz brothers, the greatest fighters of all time. And I stopped watching, okay? And I came back to watching football and baseball and classic mainstream American sports, the type of sports I watched growing up, really. And I don't know. I tried giving a little UFC a try last Friday. They had Sean Strickland versus Kazmat Shemedov, is that how you say it? And I'm familiar with those fighters, Kazmat's this new badass, just wrestling brawler with some striking skills like Khabib Nurmagomedov that has been undefeated and just beating the fuck out of everybody. And Sean Strickland's this guy talking shit. He's like, I'll go through punches, I'll try. And I tuned in last, Saturday to watch. Because oddly enough, all the UFC pay-per-views aren't even pay-per-views anymore. You just got to subscribe to Paramount Plus for like $6. The same thing that I watch Jeopardy on. That's why I have it. So I was like, all right. And you know what I learned about watching UFC on Saturday night? This shit comes on late, man. Fuck. Give me a nap. Give me a nap. I don't do amphetamines. I don't do uppers, but it seems like you need to stay up for that shit, dude. I don't know. Maybe just in my 20s, I just had more energy. I think maybe I probably napped then. I need to nap on a Saturday if I want to make it to, I don't know. It's hard to stay up for that stuff. I will say also, it is funny how they marginalize certain sports, because I think there would be a great demand for people watching these combat sports at 7 p.m., but they don't want to interfere with the mainstream sports coming on at that time. Anyways, that's my conspiracy hypothesis. It was fun. It was fun. Also, it was like a great fight. I watched it at some, Kazmat started by domination, and then he got clipped a little bit, and Strickland got on him and ended up eking out a decision. But there was a moment around the second or third round where Kazmat went to go pull guard, and it just looked a little planned and fixed because he couldn't get out from under him. Strickland, clearly won the round, but just won by points. Wasn't a ton of damage. And that carried on. We were like, oh, shit, I think Sean's got a shot in this fight now because the other guy looks gassed. But he wasn't even gassed. It just looked a little fixed. Can we say that? Can we say that? I'm not part of the league. I'm not going to get fined. Like the NBA players, they fine for saying it just looked a little fixed. Looked a little pre-planned. I don't know. And if it is, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. It's entertaining. As long as it's entertaining. Some people think that Conor stuff was fake. Back when he was knocking out Aldo and fucking this guy and that guy. And, they never let Frankie fight him. Frankie wouldn't take a dive. I'm just saying, there's some things there. Some fights we could have had that someone probably would have tried to mess him up. They didn't let him. I mean, Nate won. Anyways, let's move on. Let's come back into the sphere. All right, I'm getting it back. All right. No idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people fighting for a living. Ronda Rousey. She's fighting Gina Carano. All right. They bet this is interesting because these are the two biggest names in the sport, and they don't fight anymore, and they aren't. In many ways, they had short careers on their own, volition, on their own decision. They walked away, and very smartly, because they made so much money that they were able to get entertainment careers or, just lend their name to ads and do stuff like that. That's the way to do it, rather than hang around and get beat up. Okay, here's my prediction. Rousey versus Carano. Here's how it's going to go down. Ronda Rousey will win. She will win the same fashion that she won all of her fights minus Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm. She will go forward. There'll be a little nice brawl for like 2 seconds. She will engage. Judo throw! Judo armbar! And, she may even break that shit. Maybe Gina's going to be like, fuck it. Maybe Gina will pick her up and slam her and get out of it. That'll be a round 2, but I think Ronda Rousey's going to handle business. I think she's the better overall fighter. But there's reasons to think otherwise, Ronda's last 2 fights didn't look good when she fought more of a striker, which is more of what Gina's got going on. She might have the edge in that department, honestly. Gina went toe-to-toe with Cyborg. Ronda never fought Cyborg. Never, ever. I think we know how that would have went. I think we know how it would go right now, too. I think Cyborg would handle both of them, which is, that's a shame for old Chris. But this is the fight everyone wanted to see, though. Rousey versus Carano. They're both the pioneer. It's like Gina was by far the first female fighter that people remembered after, what was it, like Christy Brinkley? Who was that boxer? But anyways, Gina Carano was, and this is pre-UFC, she was in Strikeforce. And then She retired after losing to Cyborg. Cyborg was this new beast. And Cyborg I'm going to give her the credit she deserves. She gets it, too. I don't know. She was the next badass. She was a little bit bigger than Rousey, objectively. She was just a weight class above. That's the argument, But then Rousey came along, and they always kept her separate. They really protected Rousey away from her. But she beat up everyone else before she got to Holly. Holly Holm knocked her out. She made it look ugly. She made it look easy. She saw there was a real difference there. It took it back to UFC 1, where it was just one discipline, one boxer versus one wrestler. Where am I going? Where am I? Oh, and then Ronda came back for one more, and then she got dismantled by Amanda Nunes, person who had striking and ground to, be smart enough to stay away from that armbar at least. Anyways, years have passed in Gina Carano. Years have passed. And Gina, I think she's honestly fighting for the money. Even if it's not just for this paycheck, it's kind of to reignite her career. Because, dude, she had a very substantial acting career. She was in Deadpool. She was in a bunch of other more like B movies I can't list off. But she was last in The Mandalorian. Huge show. Huge Disney show. And then shit gets canceled for 2020, and she's a little more outspoken. I don't even know what she said, but I know she got canceled. And they fired her from the show directly for saying whatever the hell she wanted. And if you guys want to hire me, I will take all this down, and I will support anything you want, Sir Disney God. Sir Walt. Sir Walt! Just hire me. But this is my small conjecture of what I've gathered. I think because she mentioned getting out of shape and having to get back into shape. You always got to get in shape, but I feel like she got out of shape from not acting, doing shit, and maybe even into some stuff, some extracurricular stuff that she had to pull herself out of. And basically Hollywood's long game worked on her. They bled her dry. They made it so she couldn't make a substantial income like she used to, and she got depressed. And now this is the fight that everyone always wanted. When Ronda Rousey was on her tear, she went through, Carmouche and Kat Zingano, and I forget who else, Sarah McCann, just all those, every woman that fought, who's that Brazilian girl? Beth Correa. Yeah, she just knocked out everyone and armbarred them. When she was on that tear, they brought up the Gina Carano fight, and they were about to make it. They had made it, but I don't think Carano liked the contract that she was going to get locked into, because it wasn't just going to be one fight. It's never like that. So they announced it. And even then, people thought Rousey would handle her, but they're like, fuck it, we want to say it. It would have been a big thing. It's interesting. Even more so, it's interesting that it never happened in the UFC. And now the UFC is owned by the TKO, the same entity that owns WWE. And they're all in business with Netflix anyways. But this other promotion is doing this fight on Netflix. We haven't seen an organization with a new MMA thing come out of nowhere like this since Affliction. Or Elite XC back in the day. We got PFL these days, and there's Bellator. What else was there? Was it King of the Cage? I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was King of the Cage. I don't know. LFA. It's other things, but this is a random thing. Jake Paul, and I guess Jake Paul's been doing this fight thing for a minute, and Nate's been fighting under him. Anyways, Rousey Carano. Hey. For entertainment purposes, this feels a little nostalgic. We'll see. We'll see how interested I am. I will be sitting down. I will be having some guacamole. I will be partying, if you will. I might get the scoop dip chips, and I might get the regular old school tortilla. I might get freaking crazy. I might even get some Breyer's ice cream. This guy's going to finish doing his lawn. You guys hear that? I'll get to mine next month. It's aesthetic. That's why I'm growing it long. It's aesthetic. So that's Rousey Carano. Arguably more excited for Nathan Diaz versus Mike Perry. Nathan Diaz is 41. Wow. Numbers keep growing. Mike Perry's like 34. Obviously, I'm just like I'll say it, I'm a dick writer for Nathan. I want Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is so American to me. He really is like like the idea of what America should be. This like, fuck you. I'm gonna do this by myself, but I'm gonna do my job. Cause, obviously Nate Diaz is a big star because of his vibrato, the way he talks, his braggadocio, whatever, if you will. But he is incredibly talented and skilled, and his fight IQ is like off the rails. Like, he's a jiu-jitsu master, but he knows exactly where to take the fight whenever he needs to, whether it's striking or waning off some strikes just to get it to the ground. And he's got the cardio. I don't know. He's got all of his stuff covered. And he swears that age is a diagnosis. He says he's never going to retire. He's going to fight forever. He certainly lives by it. He's vegan. That makes me think I should quit eating burgers. I don't know. I can't say enough nice things about Nathan Diaz. I hope he wins. I think he will. I got to think I don't know, just in the sense he's more well-rounded. Obviously, it never favors you when you go up against a younger guy. So Mike Perry could just knock him out. But I think Nate is bigger, though. He's taller and longer. That's just a handful to deal with. A big old spider-looking motherfucker compared to you. It's like Yoel Romero versus Anderson Silva. We should have saw that, actually. That would have been cool. I think Nate handles this, What's Nate coming off of? I mean, he's been boxing. He was boxing Jake Paul last, right? Did he box someone else? I don't know. Did he box Masvidal? I don't even know how that went. God, so many things happened that I should have cared about, and I just don't. Care this weekend, though. That'll be cool. They also got Francis Ngannou, UFC heavyweight, former heavyweight champion. He's fighting. Dude, he's fighting someone, and Junior Dos Santos is fighting someone. Why aren't they just fighting each other? That's the fight. I don't even know if it happened. It might have happened already. I don't care. Why are you having those two fight nobodies? And that you want them to fight next? Like you're going to have some league going on? I guess because they got us. They're like, if you just have them on the card. But they should be fighting each other, man. They should be fighting each other. And if for some dumb reason Mike Perry knocks out Nate, they should have Nick waiting in the wings, ready to step into the cage and fight him right away. I would pay. I would just do whatever you want, man. I'll watch every week again if you do that. Bring back the old school Diaz fight promotions where you beat one, the other one steps into the cage. Oh, I would watch that every day, like Days of Our Lives, dude. Like sands through the hourglass. So are the Diaz brothers. All right, that's the combat sports report. I guess to round out combat sports, WWE, I'm not going to go too much into it, but that Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, beating up his cousin. I can't tell who the good guy is, who the bad guy was. I don't care. I'm down for the Samoan werewolf and destruction. I couldn't even understand when he was doing that backflip, taking out the Usos, whose side was what. I don't even know why he was doing this shit. I guess he wants that belt. I'm with you. It was cool. It reminded me of like old school Attitude Era Raw when hell would just get raised. Dude, Jacob Fatu, he reminds me the most of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He does. Because he could be a part of this shit, but he's like, I'm doing it my own way. Fucking lone wolf. He's a real Solo. He's everything you wanted Solo to be. That's what I got to say about WWE. What else in sports? NBA playoffs are coming. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to be involved in things outside of me as much as I can. I do love the one thing that gets me is I forget which players, but they're complaining about the refs and they get fined $50,000 for doing it. But they know, man. It's like whatever sport you follow, no matter how real it is, no matter how much merit is actually involved, when you get to the playoffs, especially, and when you get to the championship games, the fix is in, okay? And maybe your team is good enough that they're going to win anyways, but maybe they need a little help. But either way, whatever Vegas wants, and they might change their mind at the last second, but it is going to be manicured and manipulated. All right? So, that fucking San Antonio Spur throwing elbows, what's the difference? You know, I get it. It's probably better for his career. He's going to get more followers on Instagram right now. What am I? All right, that's the NBA report, which I have no business talking on. Baseball. It's going good. I'm liking it, like always. It's like I don't need you to keep score until after the All-Star break. You know? What do I got to say? You know what I should do? I forgot. I brought my baseball bat out for this. Yeah. I'm going to hold this while I talk about baseball, Cubs baseball. Let me tell you something. If you're a Cubs fan out there, we got 3 catches. Amaya, Carson Kelly, and Moises Ballesteros, young, hot-studded slugger. Might have one too many, okay? 3 is great, especially at the beginning of the season, because you really got to... Catching is a hard job. You got to stretch it out. You don't want anybody to be too worn out. You want to be able to use their bats as much as you use them behind the plate. But come postseason, you're not going to have 3 catchers on your 25-man roster. I just don't see it. So, giving that all 3 have very good value, I predict one of them being traded. Could be any of the 3. I don't think anyone's going to take Amaya. Someone could take Carson Kelly, would be a great addition. I'd hate to see him go. I love him on the Cubs. But you can see them trading him for a very good relief pitcher or 2. Same for Moises Ballesteros. They want to keep him. But if it gets to the nitty-gritty and they think they can trade him for like some hotshot ace that they might need come the postseason, given that Justin Steele is down all the time and that Cade Horton is the same story. Gosh darn it, I like those players, but they're not playing. Didn't fucking James Tallien or no Matt Boyd he got hurt sitting down raising his kids? That's a real report. Fuck. You might think about some moves if you're in position to win a World Series, which, unless you can take down the fucking Dodgers. I hate to swear, but fuck up. Go back to Brooklyn, you fucking fakes. I like that. No, I like that rain. I like that. I like the ABS. I hate the DH, but I like hating it. At least it's fair on both sides of fart knockers. NHL hockey, not watching it. I guess the playoffs are happening. I don't know. The gloves are off. I think we need someone to die in a fight before I care. That's not true. I don't wish that. I don't want that. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. But someone getting, if someone does that fucking Happy Gilmore show where they take a skate off and get on SportsCenter, I will watch the playoffs. Yeah, quack, quack, quack. Oh, Uncle Sags is here. Yo, what's up? Making a sports report. Got the podcast. What are you up to?
I will not negotiate with terrorists. That's what you strive.
Welcome back to the Jordan Lear program. Welcome to the news report. Welcome to the news report. This is serious shit. Breaking news in America and global news around the world. The government, the U.S. government. There are many governments, but I'm talking about the U.S. one. That one is mine. Hey, there's the mail coming by. Hi. Don't bring me any bills, please. That's why they fucking didn't go over on Blue's Clues mail time. It's fucking Joe or Gary or whoever the fuck was the blues guy sitting in there fretting because they're about to repossess his car. He's like, kids are like, it's mail time. He's like, no, fuck, no. Someone put a pipe bomb in my mailbox. Fuck it. I can't get bills anymore. Fuck you, Sally Mae. This is news. This is serious business. All right, here's the big thing. The government released UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, alien stuff, man. E.T. Alien like Ridley Scott, facehugger. Trump, God bless him, released some alien stuff. And I'm such a fruitin' contrarian. I'm sitting here. I'm like, they'll never release the alien stuff. And the day they do, I'm like, it's fake. It's BS. Nothing could be more phony than that. They had that one photo of a UFO and like the whole thing looked like digital, like 1990s fucking like Microsoft Paint digital. And I was like, yeah, that's fake. But even the fake one looked the realest to me. That one that looked like it was, rendered in some 3D computer game. Because I think if you do see an alien, that's what you see. You see like weird vision, It's like hallucinogenic. You're like working at a different frame rate, a different fucking bit rate, whatever it is, different hertz level. You're in a different... they say our minds can't make sense of the fifth dimension, and well, maybe these aliens can. Maybe they're like 5. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm on the 11th dimension. That fifth grade. You're on to 5th grade. Oh, yeah. I'm on to the 12th dimension. A lot of people think in 2012, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN in Switzerland split us off and destroyed the world, sent us off into a different timeline. That's why we get the Mandela effect, the Berenstain Bears, Berenstain, with the fruit of the loom, cornucopia isn't the same. Some of us were in the GATE program. We can just feel things. Sometimes you look back in life and you're like, oh, that's why I had a mental breakdown in 2012. Because the Higgs boson particles were slamming into each other. Had nothing to do with me not wanting to do my taxes. I did them. Never missed. I've always done well. That's the double true truth. What else in news? So, what does this mean? They always say, if they're telling us about aliens, then how bad is it getting? Are we so bored they can't find a way to convince people to keep going to work anymore that they gotta give us this alien tale to keep us interested, because we're all just numbed out watching fucking Love is Blind like, our wedding was great, let's watch other people. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it is E.T., We just want to know the deal. And whatever they tell us is obviously going to be a lie, but I'm like, are they good? Are they bad? Are they somewhere in the middle? Is it something we can't even quite comprehend? Because I think that's more likely. Whatever the aliens are, it's something we can't even make sense of. It's not just this like little green guy. I think they got time travel involved and all this weird wonky shit. Anyways, government's releasing it. While they're still pumping down as much sports down our throats as possible. Okay? So... make of that what you will. Me, myself, I'm just hoping that my movie, Sex, Drugs, and Open Mics, because I got a whole alien plot line in there, I hope it can get released on time. Because if this whole alien thing comes through, my movie might just be like, he thought of it after the fact. But it's like, no, dude, I was thinking of it. I was out of line with, thing is Spielberg's Disclosure comes out in June, so I gotta try and beat that for release date, which is next month. So, fuck. And the t-shirts. All right, that's been the news report. No more. That's all. And I don't believe in anything I just said. Okay? Don't come after me, government, unless you want to give me health insurance and like a real job. Thank you.
Ooh, science and nature portion. We got us a doozy today. Holy wow. Dang old cat went in there, brought this motherfucker right in the house, and he's still alive. I ain't trying to fuck with you, brother. You see here, I sweeped him up and I said, drop it. And I had to tell Master to chill. This motherfucker's on his back. I'm trying to speak life into him, you know? My fucking cat, he just catches the shit for sport. He don't need that shit. He got the kibbles and bits in the wet pumpkin food. He don't need that shizer. This fucking guy, how do I get you? He clip you so good, or you trying to be docile on purpose? See? He chilling. Buddy, I'm just trying to get you back somewhere where you can rest. Okay. Be alive somehow. I can't let my cat out. I can live. I speak life into this bird. You can tell his wings are fucked. If he's just so scared, he got fucked up. You need to rest. You need to rest. Science and Rangoon, we're gonna have us a happy ending. We'll come out later. You're gonna be gone, okay? This fucker. He's just opening up the wing, I think. He's gotta let it air out. Don't worry. I'm gonna keep Sylvester in that motherfucking house. I ain't gonna let him get to you. You're too beautiful. Good looking motherfucker. I'm gonna come out here about an hour. You're gonna be fine. Better be on your ones and twos. They're the kiddies about here. I'll keep Sylvester off you best I fucking can. Beautiful specimen. You just winging it. I ain't gonna fuck with you. Let you be. Let that heart rate get down. Sylvester will probably catch you again. Fuck. What am I gonna do? Fucking. Hey. You fucking live? You fucking live? Come over here, motherfucker. We got a miracle. You're alive. You fucking, I just made you a home. You fucking alive. You living. Hey, you better be on your wits, because my cat's good. He'll fucking catch you again. If he caught you once, he gonna catch you twice. Get up in there. You beautiful ass cardinal. Yeah, you can't quite fly. I'm gonna let you chill. I'm gonna let you chill so you don't die. Can you see in there? Wow. We had a majestic moment. I ain't gonna push it too far. You just call me Steve Irwin, motherfucker. That's what's up. I didn't have to call a hotline. I didn't have to fucking drop it down either. Fucking thing. I left it laying right there. I went out to the shed. I knew I had an empty motherfucking igloo around here. I made a little bed. I was getting ready to take this son of a bitch up to Mattawan if I had to. I'll be your animal savior. I went Ace Ventura on this motherfucker. Smoke life. He lives.
Welcome back to the Jordan Layer program. It's time for the program. The list of all the movies, television shows, documentaries, books, plays, video games, music, anything entertainment-wise. This is a little quick rambling review of my little, Virgo list things. If Virgos keep a list, or they don't? Fucking keeps the list. All right, here's all the movies I watched since the last time I did this podcast, which was, I think, a couple weeks ago. When I say what, we casually watch them these days. Anyways, The Last Showgirl, Pamela Anderson. This movie was great. It was great. A real great story about old Vegas becoming new Vegas. If you ever hear people be like, I like old Vegas. It's like, yeah, Vegas used to be this place where it was the only spot you could go to gamble. Prostitution was kind of legal, you know what I mean? It was real Sin City. It was like, do whatever you want, and they give you free stuff. Now it's the opposite, dude. You gotta get charged everywhere you go. There's no free drinks. They don't even fucking put a fridge in your room for you to bring your own drinks to keep, honestly. You gotta fill your trash can full of ice. Anyways, so, they got the Disneyfication of everywhere, whether it's Times Square. In New York, used to be Broadway, the real theater district, and now it's, you get your Dolce and Gabbana, and you see an actual, Disney took over Broadway, whatever. That's a whole thing, but it's on Vegas. And this Pam Anderson movie, where she plays the last showgirl, she plays, you just go shows, and you see the beautiful women with not very clothed, but I guess super clothed. Fucking rhinestones. Their clothing has more thought in it than anything. Even how limited it covers their body. Anyway, she plays one of these last showgirls for a show that's dying, and she's old. She's with this young group of girls, and what is it? Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis has got her big tits in this. She does. That's the focal point of the whole thing. Real good movie about people you think about what people do for a living and whatever it is, their line of business, going out and them trying to keep up with old values. And we got Pam Anderson's character. She's looking down on some of the girls for doing more erotic things. She's like, I would never do anything like that. And some of us are watching this, we're like, well, geez, you're already doing that, and we didn't realize there was such a conservative liberal line you could cross even whenever you're in. It doesn't matter what genre you're in. Even if, say, you took it harder with someone doing porn. There's people in porn that argue about the taste of porn. I'm sure they do about what they would do and not do. Pam Anderson, this movie, legit good acting. Funny. I don't know. She's funny. At the end when she tries to go out for one of those more erotic shows. And she kind of shits all over the whole thing, just making fun of it. Oh, you want me to be sexy, my pussy? She's fucking funny. Good movie. Dave Bautista's in this movie, too. Yeah. Good acting. He's the best actor that's come out of wrestling ever. He is. Better than Cena and The Rock. Last Showgirl. That was good. Watched Carrie. That's a good one. My wife had never seen it. Brian De Palma, man. This and Scarface and what is it? Blow Up or Blow Out? Yeah, Blow Out. He's got a few really good movies. I feel like he said more in there. Anyways, Carrie's one of them. Based on a Stephen King novel, and it's a horror movie. It's a lot of telekinesis throughout Stephen King stuff. It's kind of interconnected. Some of it's not, and it's sort of ambiguous, like in The Shining, The Shine. That's kind of that same power going on here with old Carrie. Anyways, my wife, she's like, what's this movie about? And I'm like, about a chick getting her period. Pretty much. It pretty much is that. Carrie's so beautifully shot, though, that it's everything you feel for. Oh, John Travolta's in that movie. I always forget that. John Travolta just sneaks into this movie. He's not even one of the main dudes. Kind of is one of the friends. Carrie's the main. She's the shit. It's named after her. Carrie, to me, I think is kind of one of those perfect movies where it's a vibe. because it's so like big, you kind of move with it. Like Paul Thomas Anderson movie doesn't feel necessarily like a plot. You're like, what is this movie? And you're like, okay, is it like, it's kind of like She's All That. Girls trying to clown her and they want to spill some blood on her. It gets extra crazy. But then it takes this, Lainey Boggs went in the bathroom and then she came out and then just went fucking Jean Grey X-Men on everyone. That's what Carrie is. Mixed with her getting her period. That's in a nutshell. That's what Carrie is to, someone who's never seen the property before. It's basically She's All That if Lainey Boggs came out of the bathroom like Jean Grey in X-Men Last Stand and it had to do with her period too. Basically, that's what I'm going to tell. That's what I'm going to tell my kids. Only 2 movies in. Watch Star Wars. Hey, it's Star Wars month. Getting on theme. They just tell me what it is. Feels right. I've had a lot of Star. Maybe I need some time off of Star Wars because I'm real casual watch. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I've had a lot of Star Wars in my life, and I love it. I love it. More on that later. I watched Being John Malkovich. That's a trippy movie about this dude finding this portal into John Malkovich's head where he goes in. He finds it at his work. He goes into this room and it turns out he's in John Malkovich's head. That's the whole plot of it. And he's like living in him. I feel like, it doesn't matter, but I feel like they came up with this movie and it wasn't Being John Malkovich. It was just like Being John Doe or you're just some random dude. But then they're like, oh, what's interesting about that? And then they're like, oh, let's get an actor. And whoever we get, let's make that the thing. And then we got John Malkovich. Like, it could have been Being John Travolta. It could have been Being Vin Diesel. Dude, why didn't they have a string of movies like that where it's different actors? Why isn't there Being Harvey Weinstein? Being Vince McMahon. No! Then you're locked in. You can't get out. Like, get me the fuck out of here. Oh, shit. Being Kobe Bryant. What really happened? What was the last? Being Steve Jobs. Yeah, it gets too real. You can't handle it. Being Philip Seymour Hoffman. I miss him. Anyways, just like there should be a National Treasure movie every year, there should be a Being John Malkovich sequel every year with a different actor. Being Harvey Weinstein. Hard to pass up. Being Quentin Tarantino, it's just feet in front of your face the whole time. Like, Sticky! I watched Spanglish. Spanglish is a movie that when I was a youngin', this was one of the first dramedies I remember being like, this is nice. I got duped into seeing it thinking it was like a Adam Sandler comedy. But Tia Leone, she acts crazy in this, but some women are like that woman, and they're really mean to their kids. And Adam Sandler, just brilliant acting. Who fucking directs this movie? There's a real James L. Brooks. That's who it is. That's why it's kind of like a film. It's like sort of a movie, but it's kind of a film. It's got to ride that line a little bit. Watch War of the Worlds. More on that later because I got a book report coming up on the War of the Worlds. I'll get into the whole spiel. Next on my list, I saw. Pretty sure is the greatest movie of all time that I've ever seen in my entire life. I saw Apex with Charlize Theron and who's that? Taron Egerton? Is that his name? Yeah. Crockett, mate. Dude, that line between what is a film and a movie, a movie's got to be under 2 hours for sure. More like the 90-minute realm, which this falls under. And it's kind of got a, I don't know if it has to have a certain plot. It has to be done in a certain way. where there's a little bit of cheese on there, but it's kind of good. That's what a movie is. Apex is that. Was not expecting that. About, spoiler alert, this chick who's like hiking and a serial killer goes like world's most dangerous game on her, the old manhunt deal. And he sets it up too, where he gives her a pack and he shows his crossbow and he's like, at the end of this song, he plays this song. It's all hit. It's a hit song, mate. Anyways, man, like that's just a good old fashioned plot. Run for your life. It's on. And if you watch like nature documentaries enough on Netflix, which obviously they know that we do, it's got all the best of both worlds. It's got her running at the end and she's doing this specific like pose under the rock. And I don't know what it is, but I can tell they're really showcasing the pose. It's like real hardcore rock climbers are going to break down this scene and be like, that's what I fucking do. Watch Apex. It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It's not a film. It's a movie. I fell into this new background movie that I like watching that I didn't even realize I liked watching. It's fantasy adventure movies from the 60s and 70s with stop motion and is it called rotoscoping effects? So where you can really see the special effects, dude. And I watched like Jason the Argonauts, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger and the Seventh Voyage. Dude, these old like movies that are like epic, some of them have to do with like fairy tales, or Greek mythology, or Sinbad was that from 1001 Nights, dude. But the special effects, I just love. It's pretty good when you see them fighting a giant, and then the stop motion animation, and you kind of see it all. It's like you can see it's fake, but it's you see it's being made, and these are films, and even though, like, you could say the CGI in Apex is, like, pristine, making it all cohesive. That's a movie. These, Jason the Argonauts, Sinbad movies, they're films, It's like the epics of back in the day. This was the Infinity War, This was the Avatar back in the day. It's comfort, this. I watched Jack the Giant Killer, like the old one. Yeah. And I wonder if I might come around to that someday about this era we've been in, the early 2000s and 2010s type CGI where you can kind of really see it. I like it more where you can really see it and look older. So maybe in 20 years I'll like what's shitty now. That makes sense to me. I got a grip for this next one. This is the next one I'm going to go into. It's about the Hunger Games. All right. Never seen them before. Don't want to again. Thought they were all right. Didn't really like them, though. I'm talking about the Hunger Games. I don't think anything's been more divisive in my marriage than this franchise. My wife, who's not that into movies, like she'll self-proclaim, even though when I dig it out of her, she's likes a lot of movies, but she's a book girl. She reads books. She's smart. She knows her vocab. She buries her head in some Colleen Hoover or something else. But she loves the Hunger Games. She suggests it all the time to watch. I never take it. I'm like, nope, don't want to. I just wasn't into this franchise when it came out. I've seen some other Jennifer Lawrence movies. I liked her in X-Men, but, I missed this whole thing. So I sat down to watch the Hunger Games. And I thought it was mostly, shite. Just kind of lame, a little. It's like it wasn't cheesy enough. I wish it was. Maybe I wish I knew how to talk. It wasn't cheesy enough. I wish it was like cheesier or less cheesy. It needed to be more grounded or more over the top. I don't know. In essence, I like it. It should be some badass shit. It's people fighting for their lives. I'll make the argument. I've seen it online, though, that the first movie, there's just so much fucking buildup before the shit happens. Because once the shit happens, I will say the fight is pretty intense. But, dude, I have the argument that if you love these movies and you love these books, you're overlooking the fact that you carry a lot of that love from the book going into the movie. Not only that, you carry a lot of the story that's filled in, because I kept watching it, asking questions, and it should be straightforward, fed to you stuff. And I'm like, but what? Who's this dude? And why's this? And even if they said it, it's just kind of not illustrated to me. And it's like, you have Philip Seymour Hoffman on heroin out of his mind, as he's about to die in real life, in this movie, barely acting, looking down. You had everyone showing up just not giving a fuck in weird-ass costumes. Anyways, I thought my wife was going to leave me. I had all these complaints. She didn't like it at all. She's like, are you even paying attention? I'm like, yeah, but I don't like it. I want to watch Jason and the Argonauts. What can I say about the Hunger Games? Like, I love all the actors, like who they are. Josh Hutcherson, PETA. He forever looks like Upside Down Face Boy from Family Guy. That is all I see. Jennifer Lawrence. I'm going to take this podcast down if I ever get a chance to work with her, but like, the acting is so silly. And it's not even her fault. I'm sure she got pushed to be that. It's the way, you know what? I didn't like the sound of it. There's a stylistic choice throughout the franchise, but there's not a lot of like score. There's not a lot of music underneath. It's kind of like cheesy lines. But I guess that's kind of what it is. It's like meant to be ambiguous. So you're like, I don't fucking know how I feel about this, but if everyone's going to see this movie, I will too. I don't know. Hey, I love Harry Potter. I don't think the films are that good. I sit back and I watch because I can fill in the lines with my head because I read the books, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not hungry enough for those games. Maybe I can't mock to their J. Maybe I can't catch fire. Dude, half of it, and I respect what they're going for because it's all about them doing TikToks. Half the movie is them fucking just doing TikToks, being like, you see what's going on here? I mean, you can see how in like right before 2020, everyone got so fucking heated over protests. They're all fired up on the Hunger Games they're raised on. Like, TikTok and look at me. And that was the whole point. They didn't even need to fight. They just needed to cast Jennifer Lawrence's character so she could make good TikToks to take down the Capitol. I don't know, man. Love Donald Sutherland, though. I had a great Donald Sutherland joke about him and Kiefer Sutherland. How they should have made a whole movie about Kiefer living inside his nutsack. And it was like a plot point in 24 where he had to carry the bomb across and blow it up across the desert. And he's talking to his daughter like, sorry, honey, but there's just one person who had to live inside your grandpa's nutsack. Unfortunately, that volunteer is me. Dink, 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 dink. 24 was a good show. Okay. That's it for movies. To round it out, I watched Striking Distance. I'll say that, okay? This fucking Bruce Willis movie about him being a Pittsburgh officer relegated to being a river patrol. That's the second greatest movie I've ever seen. If I had more steam, I'd tell you about it. I don't. All right. Then I watch television. When I watch television, you watch it on your Netflix screen. I watched Kevin Hart, funny AF. Kevin Hart, funny as fuck. I knew a few comics on this thing. I knew Saul Trujillo. Sorry, Saul. I can never say your fucking name. Macy Isaacs. Aiden McCluskey. Who's that one guy? Oh, I've met Dan Donahue. He was on there. When you say you know people. Macy and Aiden, I know more. And Saul. Saul's been on my roof. Did a rooftop mic. And who else did I know? I don't know. I know I've walked by Ron Taylor back when he was working at the Comedy Store. Anyways, this was a delightful little thing. Kevin Hart and Tom Segura and Chelsea Handler. These up-and-coming comics. It was a nice little eclectic group. Man, I wish I wish someone I knew would have won. Which that would have made me feel a little cooler. And I've seen Ron Taylor, so I can coat ride a tail. I could make up a story as if I knew him, even though I don't. Very delightful show. Netflix. Oh, I saw this the other. Netflix are really taking over comedy. You know, it's a little weird. It's a little weird how you're told who is who. You know what I mean? And it's kind of everything. I don't know. I guess HBO had their day of everyone was trying to get the HBO special, and then it was Comedy Central had their yeah. So wait, you know, maybe it's always as creepy as it's ever been. Did that? I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say. I watched it. It was okay. I feel like they didn't use the best jokes out of anyone's set. I feel bad for all the performers in that respect. I do feel bad in American Idol sense, just because, you know, like American Idol, The Voice, like they have this competition. It's like this cottage industry of watching people go for their dreams, but like no one's ever done anything from those shows. Kelly Clarkson, I mean, she's got a podcast now, you know, that's what we can all hope for. Okay. Watch Darth Maul. I wish I cared more, man. I tried. It's Star Wars month. It's new. I remember whenever a new Star Wars cartoon came out, when Rebels came out with a new episode, I sat down. Like, I went on an illegal site to watch it if I didn't have the subscription to whatever it was. Back then, they didn't have it just on Disney Plus when Rebels was coming out. You had to go on, like, Disney XD, find some weird site. Anyways, I got the Disney Plus, Darth Maul. It's just a weird time where you could watch anything. You have access to everything. And you want none of it. Interesting. They came out with a new Lord of the Flies show. You know, it looked cool. Like, it looked cool. I didn't stay engaged. To tell you, it takes a lot for me. I don't know. There's just so much out there to really hook you in. But I liked the look of it. I like them breaking the conch shell. Seemed like they pretty much followed the book, you know, page for page in many ways. You know, it's just a shame for something to come out and you kind of not care. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it. Maybe it's just too slow moving. Maybe it got stretched out too far. Was it because it was 4 hours and should have been 90 minutes? I don't know. It looked like Little Rascals out there. Lord of the Flies. I'll wait for the next one. All right, then. I watched a few documentaries, mate. Watched Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's just nice watching a time whenever music was music. You know, they used to have nightclubs with music going all over, them playing and stuff, and you could do that. Be a musician. It was like the real old 90s come up. They just don't have rock band musicians anymore. They just don't. I don't know. And if they do, it seems like it's like plucked out of nowhere, too. Like, okay, you know, I also watched the Noah Khan documentary. Yeah. See, Noah Khan, I love his music, and it seems like a celebrity. If you're going to like a guy, you would, but I can't help but feel like he just got picked and plucked, you know? Like, you think you're so good, but it's like there's a lot of people that were so good, but like the industry, I feel like they just grabbed him and they're like, his stars, this will work. This will work what we're going for. He'll be our one, you know? I don't know. I just feel bad for musicians out there. They propagate a couple up. You know, like John Mayer, he's a musician. They let him do it. But why are there more guitar players? He's like one of the only guitarists in the world. Noah Khan and but the Chili Peppers were the fucking 90s, 80s. They're in the 80s. I don't know. I love all their music. I just seeing their spotlight can't help but make me a little sad. There's not more musicians in the spotlight. You know, I love music. I wish I hunt for it. I wish there was like 5 musicians at least a year that I'm just like, oh yeah. Because like back when I was a kid, most of the music I was discovering was old music. Some of it was new, but they kind of stopped giving us. I don't know. Get off my fucking soapbox with music. Watch Ennio Morricone documentary. The guy who does all the scores, or Tarantino uses all his scores for his movies, but he did the scores for the spaghetti westerns, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, for Sergio Leone. Man, it's terrific seeing, like, he's like a punk rock guy. I guess he's using like a typewriter as drums and percussion and doing different things like that, and innovation. That's my type of artist, man. Use the shit you got. Use a little bit of real life. Add with it. Ennio Morricone. Very good. Alrighty, we're on to some reports. I think it's time. Let's talk about some literature. Let's talk about War of the Worlds. Alright. Yeah. Let me start with the war. Let's start with war. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for? Fighting aliens that look like tripods. Okay. Am I going to make this 1 minute? Is it going to be 2 minutes? Is it going to be 3 minutes? How long is this book report going to be? Mousy, how long you want me to do this book report for? What you got? You got something in your fucking... I don't want to watch. That's like the aliens taken down and see you eat a rodent. Okay. War of the Worlds. Fuck, what a tongue twister, H.G. Wells. Thanks, jerk. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Here's my, as concise as I can make it, book report. This is a good book, but he keeps running from aliens, and there's not enough character story going on, and it really paints a picture of what it would probably feel like if aliens came down and like landed, like shit would hit the fan, like a war would ensue. You know, say they came down, they weren't waving the white flag. Say they came down, they were shooting the H-bomb off, and they're like, "Show me your 4th of July, motherfucker!" Anyways, very good book. You know, at a certain point, I got a little disengaged, given that, like I said, it's not real. A guy leaves his home, and he's sort of on the run, and he's just intaking that these big tripod-looking fucking things are zapping people and destroying them, and no one really knows what's going on, but these huge, gargantuan things came down, and they seem to be rising and pulling themselves out of this fucking pit. It's very good. Oh, and okay, this is in the 1800s. This is what really got the story together, made it, you know, nice dramedy at the end, is that he finds his wife. A man leaves. It's like Cloverfield, kind of, where he's like gone, and then he's trying to find his wife, and he thinks she's dead, but then she's alive. And I was like, man, should have had a little bit more twists and turns, and, you know, it's a little bit of an odyssey journey along the way. I've seen the Tom Cruise movie before. It's a very accurate representation of it. And honestly, that movie gives it all the fill in the blanks that the book is missing. Because if you watch that movie, you might think the same. You're like, he's kind of just running the whole time. It's like, well, that is what the book is, man. You know, this is the book that they've said famously. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but they used to teach us that when they did a radio play of this in the 30s, that people heard it on the radio and they thought it was a real report of aliens coming down, a war was going down, and people started killing themselves because they were scared. I don't know if that's true or not. Some people think that's a fable in itself. However, it seems to be a pretty timeless piece of fiction that stands around, and I finally read it, and I'm glad I did. It's good to just know, even if it's boring. You're like, oh well, now I know what that's about, you know. It's kind of like going to New Vegas to feel like it's Disneyfied. You just do it. Knock it off the list. War of the Worlds. I watched okay, so here's my ranking of the movies. Tom Cruise always tops, and then the 53 version is pretty good. Pretty darn good, actually, and looks similar to the Tom Cruise one in a lot of ways. And they all have the same sort of illustrations and design of the aliens, even in the artwork of this and the movies you see. And then last is the Ice Cube movie. I guess they made an Ice Cube movie like 2020, and it's just him sitting like in front of his monitor the whole time doing like work by telephone. because it was shot during COVID, but that could have been a lot shittier, honestly, for a modern day take. That one too had the same like tripod design. They have all these, you know. What's going on with that? What you guys want to tell us? Okay. Here's where we're at. I read Dr. Faustus. This shit about this guy trying to use the dark arts. He's like the original Voldemort, getting to necromancy, finding to summon the devil. The original Robert Johnson selling his soul. I went down to the crossroads, Dr. Faustus. You know, I'm just trying to up my Jeopardy score. And two things. You hear Faustus, people be like, oh, it's very Faustian of you when someone does some evil-ass shit. And also Christopher Marlowe. You know, I hear this author, this playwright's name thrown around as a fellow contemporary of the Shakespeare time. You know, because you read about Shakespeare, you read Shakespeare, you're like, oh, well, who else was the shit? Because they're like, oh, Shakespeare's the shit. He's the guy, man. And then this other contemporary, Christopher Marlowe, writes this famous piece around the same time, and he's born the same time as Shakespeare. He writes Dr. Faustus. And it's fascinating. It's weird. I had to keep telling God, please don't let me read these words and let it conjure the devil, because I'm just reading them for knowledge. I bet that's what Dr. Faustus fucking said. What's the gist of this play, this book? This doctor, he's really smart. He studies a lot of shit. He's really well-versed. He's kind of got a fucking Dr. Faustus program, if you will. He does all this different stuff. Dr. Faustus decides to get into the dark arts. He wants ultimate power, and he's tempted. And he starts meeting, the devil, but it ain't just the devil. He meets, like, Mephistopheles, this, like, other devil. And there's a Beelzebub devil, and then there's, like, Lucifer. So like, what? There's more evils out there? And I don't know. He starts making deals with them. Ultimate power where he can, like, show magic. And people are like, show me your magic. So he, like, makes a hologram of Alexander the Great. And he can't make a real one. He makes a hologram, basically, of him. And when I read that, I was like, holy shit, that's where we're at. We got the Dr. Faustus shit now. People can do this dark art stuff. Basically, that's what this phone is. Oh my gosh. Maybe I shouldn't publish podcast. Maybe I shouldn't. Fascinating. And also, the main trope that I see in this, which I'm not positive if it's the first one to do it. I feel like it is. It's got the good angel, bad angel, one on each shoulder story, where he's tempted with the book of the dark arts, and the good angel and the bad angel appear. And the good one's like, hey, don't do that. And the bad one's like, yeah, do that. That is just that. You see that in almost every TV show, or at least 90s sitcom. At least you see it, man. The good and the bad angel. It's fascinating. Anyways, I don't know. It goes through a journey of him having to sell his soul to the devil. At the end, he has to give it up to the devil. And, he realizes fucking wasn't worth it, or doesn't realize it. Kind of flatlines out on evil, evil, evil. Here's something a little bit more important for me, what I realized. I look up Christopher Marlowe, and I started reading The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare, Billy Shakes. And I want to know more. And I'm like, did they really never meet? Okay. Because they're born the same year. They both make plays in England. But here's the thing. Christopher Marlowe dies at the age of 29, like in a bar fight or some shit. Shakespeare, even though he's born the same year as Christopher Marlowe, his career doesn't take off until Shaky is 35. So they never met. Now, I've also read that a lot of people dispute that. A lot of people recently credit that they did meet. They had to have met. They probably worked on a lot of stuff together, in fact. Like different people. There's no way they didn't intersect. And I think I read that Marlowe was given credit for partially writing part of Henry VIII, one of the Henry movies, a little bit of Shakespeare, maybe even this one, The Merchant of Venice. And it's really interesting, man. I get a little deeper, and I'm like, a lot of people think Christopher Marlowe is Shakespeare, and that he faked his death because he was also a secret agent dude working for different countries, and he was persecuted for atheism. And he's writing this fucking devilish shit, so people are after him. The fucking Roman Church is certainly like, fuck you, or somebody's after him, whoever's around. I don't know my Greek mythology that well, and so a lot of people think he faked his death. And he comes out as Shakespeare, and he's like, oh, I'm a totally different guy. I write in verse, because like this is like prose, mostly Dr. Faustus, it's verse. It's not in the iambic pentameter. And Shakespeare is all like ribbity-rhymey poetry. But I can't help it. This feels like Shakespeare when I read Dr. Faustus. It feels exactly like Shakespeare in every way. The arrangement of the stories, the characters, just the feeling, the genre. It is all so similar, man. And it couldn't have lined up more perfect that they are the same. And they call those that believe in this conspiracy theory that Shakespeare and Dr. Faustus are the same, Marlovians. And I am now one. This is the Marlovian program. This is the Jordan Marlovian program. There it is. So you can stick that up your pipe and smoke it. Okay? I will not take place with any devil's magic. I will take sides and say they are the same person. Do that with what you will. Here's my play reports. That's it. To round out the program, I never want to forget the fact that I play video games now, and I like it. And it's nice out. I'm trying to spend as much time outside. But I like disappearing into an imaginary world. And just... So, I did get Spider-Man Miles Morales because it's on sale. And I started playing it. It was on sale. It's like 50% off. So I was like, whoa, it's never this good. And I haven't played that one yet. And I love Spider-Man. And then I stopped playing it because they had the new Star Wars, or new to me, they had Star Wars Survivor for only $10. So I got it. And I've been playing Jedi stuff because it's on theme. And I've been whipping and whapping. And I play on hard mode. And it's all about getting the parry. The stormtroopers coming at you. Or even those little the droids. Those fucking annoying yapping ones shooting. You got to ricochet with the parry right on time. It's all about finding the... Star Wars game is good because there's a lot of little puzzles in there. You can do some slashing, and you got to be on your fucking game if you play on Jedi Grandmaster mode. You have to. But there's a lot of little puzzles you can find, little secrets. So it's endless entertainment. I'm going to try and put it off mostly till the winter. But I am playing Star Wars. And I'm slaying stormtroopers and droids. And I'm changing the color of my jacket, my little cape thing, and my little robot BD-1. I'm doing that, moving the accessories from the ancient look to the more pristine, clean. I'm changing my lightsaber color from green, blue, classic. I'd mix in cyan and magenta and white. I wish they had the dark saber on there. You know what I mean? Alright, that's been enough talking. Happy Star Wars month. Get outside and play. Don't forget that everything I said on this whole podcast was fake. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. The only thing that's real was that UFO photo that looked like it was from Microsoft Paint. I think that was real. Hey, doggies. It's nice being outside. Alright. Like and subscribe. Or don't, like I keep saying. Listen to the Jordan Lear program. Find my website, jordanlear.com. Look for my movie, my film, Sex, Drugs, and Open Mics. Or listen to my music at the album Jail Lizard and the hit single Jeopardy Loser. Out now on my album. Look for more in the future. Or as Kurt Signetti says, Google me.